We've got plenty more on the other side. We will talk much more about this. Again, you're looking live at the Senate floor as the Democratic filibuster has been broken. Democratic filibuster has been broken.
We're getting very close to the shutdown. We'll never agree to give any substantial money or any money to really prisoners, illegals that come into our country. And I think the Democrats understand that. And it looks like we're getting close to the shutdown ending. You'll know very soon. Thank you.
Everybody in America knows that our current healthcare system is broken.
Illegal immigrants are not the reason why our healthcare system is broken.
Yeah, it's not deflection at all. In fact, I brought receipts. So here's the CMS, the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, right here with their press release earlier this year saying they were having to increase their oversight on states like California who were abusing Medicaid and classifying it as an EUSA, an emergency system, when it wasn't. You've got the average state spends 5% of its Medicaid roughly on emergency services. California, 35 to 40%.
Looks like they're getting the votes needed to move forward to open the government. For the first time in my life, it appears the Dems are caving. That's right, the pressure cooker too hot over the weekend and the past few weeks. President Trump calling for the filibuster and more scared him to death, and many people calling in, unions calling in, and more. We'll look at some of the pressure added to make them move and see the crazy reactions to all of this from the libs. They're just crazy. We have this and more on illegals and some arrests that are very interesting. And, man, just a lot to go over from the weekend. Thank you so much for the 500,000 followers. We reached that on Rumble. It's a big supporter, folks. We love the support that we have from them over these past several years when YouTube took us down. To continue to support them, thank you for watching us there, hitting that like button, and so much more. And we also want to make sure that we let you know that the cruise is still available. You can go to amweknow.com. And we are leaving March 15th through the 22nd from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, over to Puerto Rico. And just want to let you know, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. When you go to our website, you'll notice that you can see who's featured. Tim Lovelace, a comedian, for many, many years, is not only provides laughter, but tears with his music, his stories, and more. Todd Tillman won The Voice. You guys know him. Amazing storyteller, and tell you what, not a dry eye when he presents his stories and sings for us patriot music and worship music and so much more. We're going to go to the world's best beaches. You're going to experience time together as we have our Q&A time on stage. We're going to have several guests there. If you guys don't know, I'm just going to try to remember some of them top of my head now. Real AF Patriot, Justice Cometh, Observing Consciousness, DC Lidstone, Grasshopper 17, and Dean Erickson, Ultra MAGA. We're going to have many of them there. We're going to have a lot of our folks that we interview on this show on board also. 7 days. We're going to have a blast. Hope you guys join us. We are so looking forward to that for sure. So you saw President Trump in the intro as he talked about it looks like we're going to get near a close to this entire charade that's been playing out in front of us with the shutdown. You heard CNN. I'm going to play this again.
We've got plenty more on the other side. We will talk much more about this. Again, you're looking live at the Senate floor as the Democratic filibuster has been broken. We have so far reached 60. We're waiting for the official count. But right now, 60 votes that would unlock moving forward with this plan to reopen the government on the Senate side.
They admitted the Democrats are the ones that caused this. That's why I had it echo, try to play it over and over again. So you got that. Oh, that's strange coming from the Communist News Network. So with this ending, you'll hear this.
On this vote, the yeas are 60 and the nays are 40. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen.
60-40. So you got Durbin from the Democrat side, Hassan, King, Cortez Masto, Kane, Shaheen, Rosen, and Fetterman are the ones that came over. There were supposed to be, I believe, 10, but we're going to have an explanation how the rest of this works. Here you go.
Sunday evening, and we're about ready to have our first vote to move to finally reopen the government. It's been ridiculous. The Democrats have been absolutely absurd. So let me give you the rundown on how this works. Right now, we got to have a motion to proceed. That means to get on the bill. Once we pass that, which we've already have 10 Democrats that have agreed to vote with us, so we had the votes. Once it's passed, technically it invokes 20 or 30 hours of debate. Now the Democrats can yield all that back if they want to. After that, we have another vote, and that's to amend the clean CR the House sent over. Now, what that means is the House sent over a clean CR on all 12 appropriation bills. We have 3 appropriation bills that we're amending. So we have the LEDGE, we have MILCON, which is military, and AG. Now, AG is where the SNAP program is. So we're going to have to amend 3 of the 12 appropriation bills, and then CR the rest of the 9, and then send that back to the House after we vote on it. But once we vote to amend it, it invokes another 30 hours of debate, and before we can actually vote on the bill. So if the Democrats want to drag this out, they can drag it out for 60 hours. Now, it's ridiculous because the vote's already there, but there's some presidential hopefuls that want to, Democrat presidential hopefuls, that want to drag this out and like plant their flag and say, this is awful, we're not going to do this. Well, that means we won't be able to get to that vote until Wednesday. That means the House has to come back in and vote after we do, which would mean probably the government wouldn't reopen until Thursday. Now, if the Democrats want to yield back the time, we could get all 3 votes done tonight. The House could come back in, vote, and the government could be reopened back tomorrow night. So we'll see what they do. More than likely, they're going to try to continue to hold you guys as leverage points.
Yep. Very interesting, huh? To catch that. So could have the government open tonight. This podcast ends, and then we find out tonight that it's all done, and we're good to go. But majority folks know how the Dems play games. Well, all it took was one Trump post to stop the media's and Democrats' plan. They wanted to blame Trump for the lockdown. Trump ruined it by being Trump. Everyone found out the Democrats wanted health care for illegals paid for by Americans. Was absolutely brilliant. Watch this.
And that the way the process has been developed, it is impossible to delay the votes that are going to take place. And if that were not the case, that is certainly what I would do, because I think it is important that the American people fully understand what is being voted on today.
Good. Go ahead. You ready to hear the anger? Let's do this. Watch this.
Everybody in America knows that our current healthcare system is broken.
Wait a minute. Really? How could it be broken? I thought that we had these so many promises that everything was going to be absolutely wonderful with Obamacare.
It will actually reduce the deficit by $4 trillion over the long term. Reducing the waste and inefficiency in Medicare and Medicaid will pay for most of this plan. It will slow the growth of healthcare costs for our families, our businesses, and our government. There will be a provision in this plan that requires us to come forward with more spending cuts if the savings we promised don't materialize.
All lies. Lies, lies. And they come from the father of lies, Satan himself. See? We knew this guy was evil. I knew he was evil before he was voted in. Took a lot of folks to, I don't know why it took them so long to finally realize this guy is probably filled with multiple legions of demons. But yeah, they made all kinds of promises. It's going to be great. Now they're admitting everybody needs to know the healthcare system is broken.
Broken. It is dysfunctional. It is cruel. It is by far the most expensive healthcare system in the world.
How did that happen? Why are you admitting this? Why would you say such a thing? How dare you go against Obama, who made so many promises?
And the only healthcare system of any major country that does not guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right.
We shouldn't. Why is the government getting involved in healthcare in the first place. They tried to warn everybody. We tried to warn. Remember back then? Oh, we need this Obamacare. And then we went to the Supreme Court and everybody's on pins and needles. And we thought, man, this is going to be great. And then Roberts came back and said it's a tax. And we said, I told you. And then we listened to Rush Limbaugh every day and he kept warning us day after day. They better not pass this thing. And then what did they do? They took the big gavel out and then they marched around D.C. with old Pelosi and her friends. And they're like, we did it. We did it. The government took over healthcare. We're going to make everybody's lives so wonderful. It's going to be amazing. Follow the yellow brick road. We're going to go see the Wizard of Oz. It's going to be so good. Dorothy, get Toto. Oh my goodness. And now he's admitting it's a failure.
Covering every man, woman, and child. We are unique in that respect. And yet tonight, what this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse. So let's be clear what this vote is about.
Let's be clear.
If this vote succeeds, over 20 million Americans are going to see at least a doubling in their premiums in the Affordable Care Act. In my state of Vermont and throughout this...
A doubling. So it's bad now. It's bad now. But man, if you guys vote for this, it's going to be even twice as bad. I thought you made these promises. I thought Obama was telling us the truth. So President Trump put this out. November 9th, 2025. 8:11 a.m. Eastern Time. Boy, it's so good. So good. Breaking. Doge halts yearly payment of $2.5 million to Barack Obama for royalties linked to Obamacare. Obama has collected this payment since 2010 for a total of $40 million. $40 million in taxpayer monies. You got that? So if you go to the old Intel board, the Q board, right? I mean, folks say it's a scam. It's a psyop. It is a great psyop. It's a psyop on a positive note. There's still people out there attacking. How dare you support this thing? It's a psyop. It's going to take us to the deep end. It's going to ruin us. But oh no, you head over to the Q drop and it tells us what? U.S. taxpayers are paying for it all. Paris Accords scam. Red Cross is a scam. Foreign aid's a scam. War is a scam. Trillions of dollars, on and on and on. Who audits where the money actually goes? Who actually receives the money? The U.S. taxpayers funding the very people we are engaged in taking down. Slush funds everywhere. Think George Soros' friend teeth out of his own pocket? No, he ain't paying for it out of his own pocket. The hole's deep. You feel sick yet? We've been sick for a long time on all this. So then you head down to the bottom of this after it's shown, that reminder. We're told Obama family $40 million. Pre-election, less than $1 million. All he had is $1 million in his account. And then all of a sudden he had $40 million. Clinton family only had like $1 million, up to $200 million. Disguised under book deals. Those who take are offered more powerful positions within the party they're controlled. Drain the swamp.
Prior to December 2021, my husband Larry was a healthy, active man with no health concerns or underlying conditions. He was a college lecturer and a successful musician, but that was all taken away from him on the 15th of December 2021. That was the day he received a COVID Pfizer booster injection in Oma Leisure Centre.
Well, that heartbreaking story from Larry Lowe's wife. She's talking because it's too hard for him to speak. Just because she didn't react immediately to the COVID jab doesn't mean you are in the clear. Mysterious symptoms and even deaths are surfacing months, sometimes years later. So you look at this, the VAERS reports show way more COVID vaccine injuries than something as common as Tylenol. And get this, experts estimate only 1% of cases are even reported. Plus, shedding means you could be exposed even if you skip the shot. Now, mRNA vaccines could be in our livestock, even organic. Why are mRNA vaccines different? It's the spike proteins. These proteins meant to train your immune system can interact with blood vessels and platelets, potentially causing clotting or inflammation. Overwhelming evidence shows millions are affected. So what's the solution? It starts with your gut. A healthy gut microbiome is the number one factor in fixing damage from vaccines, antibiotics, and the standard American diet. And the best way to boost gut diversity is kimchi. Studies like one from the National Institute of Health show kimchi's incredible power to restore gut health. But let's be real, eating kimchi daily isn't easy. That's where Bright Course Kimchi 1 comes in. Delivers 900 probiotic strains, live enzymes, and antioxidants in one convenient capsule. No mess, no taste. It supports digestion, energy, metabolism, immunity, and more. The And We Know listeners can get 25% off Kimchi 1 with code AWK at mybrightcore.com/AWK or call 888-317-9941 for up to 50% off plus free shipping today.
How are Republicans going to use leverage in their fight with Democrats when the Democrats are actually the ones with the upper hand in the eyes of voters?
Well, I'm sure Democrats will be more than happy to open the government now. The election's over. I mean, part of the reason they shut it down was to get through tonight.
I mean, I
would suspect they'll be opening up by the end of the week.
Adam Schiff, he was like, hold the line.
AOC, there's lots of rumors of people wanting to open it.
Look, I don't see what is the incentive for Democrats to back down when voters are basically saying Trump's not doing enough. It's the Republicans' fault, and then they basically handed the keys in this past election to the Democrats. Where's the leverage?
Again, these are blue states electing Democrats, not a shock. Democrats clearly wanted this shutdown to get through Election Day. I do think they are facing pressure from their internal coalitions. The unions, the air traffic controllers, the government employee unions are desperate to get the government back open. They're feeling a little bit of internal heat. But again, the election's now over. I'm sure tomorrow morning phones will start ringing and it'll be open soon enough. This was a political shutdown, and that's what they did, and now we're through the election.
Scott Jennings called it. The shutdown. Called it. We all knew how this was going to work out. And the insurance companies, you guys know, is all about the insurance, and we've been harping on that for a long time. Health insurance companies are making money hand over fist, not because they've discovered new and innovative ways of making Americans healthier, but because Obamacare insulates them from competition while giving them massive subsidies. What's the downside? Obamacare makes everyone else poor. If you're looking at that chart, major health insurance companies' stock performance after Obamacare was put out by President Trump so everybody could see. United Health Group went up 1,177%. Wow. Cigna went up 822%. Anthem went up 414%. Humana, 490%. Molina, 859%. Centene, 604%. Aetna, glad I met you. Not anymore, 595%. Wow. It's amazing what happens, huh? And then the illegals come in. They really got it.
We got the results back, and unfortunately, I do recommend the full biopsy.
Well, the most important thing is my health.
Yeah, your health. Speaking of the most important thing, how are you going to be paying for this today?
Well, I don't have insurance, so I just figured I paid out of pocket. So, what are the damages?
Well, with cash discount, you're looking at about $8,000.
$8,000? Well, is there anything I can do?
Yeah, sorry, my hands are tied. I can't give you any free healthcare unless you're an illegal immigrant or something.
Hola, yo soy necesito un grande biopsy.
Ooh, biopsy. Well, normally that would cost about $8,000, but I have to ask, are you here illegally by any chance?
You're not an ICE agent. You'd have to tell me if you're an ICE agent. I mean, it's the law.
Yes, no, I'm not ICE. I'm trying to help you, hermano. In California, if you are here illegally, you get all kinds of free health benefits.
What? I had no idea. Yo estoy illegal.
Fantastic. And I'll just put you down for the state program, and bam, free biopsy.
Oh my goodness, who comes up with these? Babylon B, of course, once again, as we head on over to old Slapodopolis, let's see about some of the pressure that was maybe added over the weekend on some of this.
President has also come forward with a new proposal overnight saying it's time instead to do away with Obamacare, instead to have the money go directly to the people. Do you have a formal proposal to do that?
Oh, wow. It's actually brought up on ABC News. Maybe the money needs to go to the people instead of handing them out to these companies.
We don't have a formal proposal, but what I have noticed over time is that the Democrats give all these bills the Orwellian names, the Affordable Care Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, and we end up with just the opposite.
That's right.
The Affordable Care Act has become unaffordable.
Amen.
And the Inflation Reduction Act set off the greatest inflation in 50 years.
Well, I'm a little...
What are you going to do about that, Slappadopoulos?
Confused because the president has been posting about that overnight and into this morning, but you're not proposing that to the Senate right now?
We're not proposing it to the Senate right now, no.
Then why is the president posting about it?
George, the president's posting about it, but again, we have got to get the government reopened before,
How about instead of asking him why is he doing it, how about, man, that sounds like a great idea. Wow, that'd be great to give the Americans the money that they deserve so they can go find their own insurance instead of handing it to the insurance companies. I think that's great. Thank you. Instead, he says, I'm a little confused. The old Slappadopoulos CIA agent trained to do nothing but cause damage to our country, a traitor to this country, somebody that should probably be part of the Nuremberg trials if they ever happen again. Love to see that. President Trump said, I'm sorry the American people are being terrorized by Democrats, decide to shut down the government, make me and other Republicans continue Obamacare subsidies. So remember, I'm letting you know some of the pressure that was put on this weekend by President Trump leading up to the Democrats finally caving. He continues, which have been a windfall for health insurance companies. That's he's been talking about. Disaster for the American people. It is. The largest health insurance companies have seen their stock prices soar. President Trump knows what's going on, some over 1,000% since the passage of Obamacare. Meanwhile, Americans' premiums have more than doubled, contrary to President Obama's promise. I believe that the money should go directly to the people to purchase better health care and create competition. There it is. This enrichment of health insurance companies must stop. It's long past to lower premiums, not enrich insurance companies. I stand ready to work with both parties to solve this problem once the government is open. Stop terrorizing the American people. Stop pushing failed policies. Now check this out. How many of you are kicking back and you're wondering, how many things have we learned about since President Trump entered the scene in 2015? Gave his speeches and finally entered in 2016. How many things have we discovered this year alone since his third term, entered the scene? How many things did we discover? Like, oh my goodness, did you guys know about that? Did you know that SNAP was going to like 60% to illegals and people that don't deserve it? Yeah, man, I didn't know that. Did you know that some places they give them like 3 times more than the Americans they give to the illegals SNAP benefits? I didn't know that. Well, hey, did you know that man, Obamacare is like they're getting all these subsidies to these insurance companies and they're just pocketing that money, and more than 1,000% of the stock price gone up? I didn't know that. I mean, guys, it's like everything is done for a reason. It's almost like this shutdown was created to wake us up even more so. Wake up the American public to all that's going on. Walmart employee who works in online order says because of the EBT payments, pause. They have nothing to do and are being split up to other departments. They're so bored they're ordering Burger King to fill the time. Entire Walmart departments wouldn't exist without EBT. Insane. Can you imagine? These companies have even thrived off of this stuff. Well, they need to keep moving too. I'm sure they were making some calls. Hey, you need to get the SNAP stuff going. Walmart is calling, maybe Target. I don't know, other companies. Then you got the air traffic control. Hey, these aircraft, we got to get these things up and running, man. It's causing problems. Pressure's mounting and mounting. Before you know it, they cave. And then you go to the insane asylum, MSDNC. Find out what they think about all this caving that Democrats are doing.
Do you think Chuck Schumer needs to go after tonight?
Do you think Chuck Schumer needs to go? How dare he cave?
He should have gone a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Yes, you talk about aiming, not meeting the moment, right? Every time he gets in front of the camera, the average Democratic voter out there screams, "Be done with you, be done." And this will only accelerate that. Yes,
Joe,
I think we've seen.
Do you think the left is headed for a Tea Party-like moment here? I mean, I know that you're new to being a Democrat and you're not like some big lefty or progressive, but this does seem to fit the argument that they have been making, that some of these older or more moderate and establishment figures just aren't ready to meet this moment. Generational change is needed. You know, this sort of seems like if you're one of them, you're running on this. You're challenging
I'll tell
people.
you what, if I were on set with you all right there, I'm yanking off my mic and I'm hugging you. I'm giving you a big high five. You are exactly right. Look,
How dare they open up the government? Who does Chuck Schumer think he is, caving to the American people and giving them what they wanted and all the phone calls that are being made? And how dare he? He's not a good leader. He could have stopped these Democrats from making the votes. People that are against tariffs are fools, says President Trump. Going into the tariff world. Remember the tariffs? We've been learning about that. We are now the richest, most respected country in the world. With almost no inflation and a record stock market price, 401ks our highest ever. We are taking in trillions of dollars. We'll soon begin paying down our enormous debt, $37 trillion. Record investment in the USA, plants and factories going up all over the place. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone. Paid to everyone. Fun fact, if tariffs didn't work, 170 other countries wouldn't be tariffing America. Isn't that something? You know, people complain about the tariffs. Hey, how come the other countries get to do it? We don't talk about it. President Trump says, so let's get this straight. The President of the United States is allowed and fully approved by Congress to stop all trade with a foreign country, which is far more onerous than a tariff. And license a foreign country, but is not allowed to put a simple tariff on a foreign country, even for purposes of national security. That is not what our founders had in mind. The whole thing is ridiculous. Other countries can tariff us, but we can't tariff them. It is their dream. Businesses are pouring into the USA only because of tariffs. Has the United States Supreme Court not been told this? What is going on? Wow. Craziness continues. You guys know you can go to amweknow.com. Amazing website. You'll find our merch site there at shop.amweknow.com. We've got amazing products new this week. The AmWeKnow water bottles and tumblers are in. You'll see those on your screen. Absolutely amazing. Truth, Hope, Faith, and Freedom shirts. Different colors with hoodies, some without hoodies. We got the bags also. We have Follow Me and Make You Fishers of Men, Matthew 4:19. And also, you know, we've got our new embroidered collection. Check them out. If you wear these guys out and about and they see the AmWeKnow logo, I've had many write in and say, hey, folks saw me wearing this shirt and they came up to me and we had a great conversation. I've got a new friend. It'll change your life. Here's more great pictures of Patriots wearing our gear.
Illegal immigrants are not the reason why our healthcare system is broken.
Yeah, it's not deflection at all. In fact, I brought receipts. So here's the CMS, the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, right here with their press release earlier this year saying they were having to increase their oversight on states like California who were abusing Medicaid and classifying it as an EUSA, an emergency system, when it wasn't. You've got the average state spends 5% of its Medicaid roughly on emergency services. California, 35 to 40%. Why would that be? Because California passed a state law that says we will fund Medicaid for illegals, and then, oh, by the way, we'll raise our provider taxes, and then, oh, by the way, we'll use that as a match to draw down federal funds. And they're using this whole cavitation process.
An accounting trick to put it on the taxpayer.
Money is fungible, and California's loophole is abusing it.
Listen, and we...
All right, back from CNN. Ooh, that was a lively one. And they hate it when you bring receipts.
But let's talk about that Medicaid thing for a minute, because what you have right now is a thing called the California loophole. Liberals hate it when you bring receipts, but the California loophole is real. And the reason why the left wants to get this whole spending package revised right now is because they want to be able to fund Medicaid for illegals like California is doing. The Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services earlier this year said they were having to increase their oversight. Why? Because California, New York, other states like that were abusing the Medicaid process by turning their emergency rooms into free clinics and then classifying everything as an emergency service and submitting it for federal matching dollars. Not supposed to work that way. Life-giving, life-saving treatment, yes, that's the Hippocratic Oath. Treating somebody for the common cold and giving them basic medical care and calling it emergencies because they walked into an emergency room and then billing the U.S. taxpayer dollars, that's called fraud. It needs to stop, and that's exactly what Republicans are trying to do. It's pretty simple. Yes, illegal immigrants are being given Medicaid dollars, and it's blue states like California that are making it happen.
Let's bring some more receipts, shall we? Check this out.
George, the best way to do it, and look, you were involved in a lot of these in the 90s, and you basically called the Republicans.
He's talking about shutdowns.
Terrorist, and you said that it is not the responsible party that keeps the government closed. And so what we need is 5 brave, moderate Democratic senators to cross the aisle, because right now it is 52 to 3. 52 to 3.
And of course, that changed hours later after this interview to what we've got now. Just kind of showing you some of the pressure put on them and then waking up people at ABC that watch ABC.
5 Democrats can cross the aisle and reopen the government. That's the best way to do it, George.
I can disagree with you about the history there, but we don't need a history lesson right now. We can talk. Let's talk about.
George.
Let's talk about what's happening right now.
If you want, I've got all your quotes here. I've got all your quotes here, George.
I'm sure you do.
But
let's talk about the situation right now.
Read your book. So you got one purchase on Amazon this week, and that's very much what you said.
You got one purchase on Amazon this week on your book, George Slopadopoulos. And that's exactly what you said. Oh, I love it. Whoever's working on this guy's team is absolutely phenomenal. Secretary Bissent, kudos to you, man. Great work. Very calm in how he handles everyone. Great answers. And, man, he's got some great prep leading up to these interviews. And I'm just proud of whoever's taking care of him. Outstanding.
I allowed politics to ruin the relationship I had with my mother. That's right. For 3 years, when I was a diehard liberal, I was wearing the pink hat, I was marching against Donald Trump, I was doing all the things. I was listening to CNN every single day. And part of the program that CNN offers is telling you that people who don't think like you are bad people, they're racist people, they should all die. That is part of the program, and it is intentional so that it keeps us all divided. And during that time, my mom was conservative and I was liberal. And I literally put my mom, our relationship, I put that below my allegiance to this ideology. And it wasn't until I turned the media off that I realized it was totally a program. And that's what's happening right now. They are programming us to believe that if you're on this side, you can't get along with people on that side. And it is the government is the same side. It's the same wealthy technocrats that are taking over society. So we all need to start getting along so that we can be free, okay?
How about that? Or waking up. It's always encouraging, right, to see these folks tell us what's going on day after day. You know, President Trump was out there trying to talk to these guys about the filibuster over the weekend. I talked about it in our video on Saturday that we released with Dr. Kirk Elliott. And I tell you what, the Senate Republicans that were standing on the filibuster, there was only like 9 open to changes. And we talked about that. John Boozman, Jim Banks, John Cornyn, Josh Hawley, Tommy Tuberville, Bernie Moreno, Roger Marshall, Jim Justice, and Ron Johnson. So, you know, it's interesting because even though they might not have ever done the filibuster if we finally get this thing passed and through, imagine the amount of pressure the Democrats are feeling thinking, man, you know what? They probably might be talking about this. They might be getting close to really a filibuster if we keep this thing going, even though they probably did it just because of the election. So I think that that's part of the pressure that was played out on everyone. And so this also came up in, some of the I'm sure they saw this on the news and they were thinking it through as Caroline Leavitt had this interview.
The president is 100% right about this, and he wants Republicans to get tough and get smart. And we know that if Democrats, God forbid, are ever given the keys back to power in Washington, D.C., they will end the filibuster. 49 of them in their party already voted to do it. The only reason it got held up is because 2 voted against, and those 2 are no longer here. They got run out of town by radical leftists who have totally taken over the party. So the president is saying we have 3 years of me in the Oval Office to do everything the American people want us to do. Let's take advantage of this historic opportunity, get rid of the filibuster now before the Democrats can do it, and pack the Supreme Court, make Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. states, and all of these other radical ideas that they want to implement. It's the right strategy, and it's based on reality, and the current opposition to the Republican Party is truly the most radical left party we've ever had.
More pressure. Yeah, we're going to do the filibuster. I think it's good. And we're going to prove to everyone that they actually wanted their own filibuster, right? And so there was actually a video that was out. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but just kind of the beginning somebody put together showing that this is exactly what the Democrats are going to do. President Trump is right.
It's time we get rid of the filibuster.
The filibuster. The filibuster.
Filibuster.
They wanted this back in, I think it was 2021. They wanted to get rid of it.
Filibuster.
Here's what it is, and here's why it stinks. For a vote on a bill to take place, a few things have to happen. 1, a bill is brought to the floor. 2, senators debate the bill. 3, senators in debate. 4, senators vote on the bill. Majority wins. That's the way the founders intended it to go, at least. Here's the hitch. In 1806, Aaron Burr, yes, the one who killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel, Aaron Burr said that the Senate had too many rules and should get rid of some. One rule that got tossed in the trash can, the rule that said any senator could propose a vote that would cut off debate. That means this step could, in theory, go on forever. For years, business generally went on as usual. But then, Senator John Calhoun realized he could exploit this rule change to seize more power for southern slaveholding states by filibustering. In 1917, President Wilson, tired of the Senate that was obstructing more than voting, pressured the Senate to pass a rule to make sure that debate wouldn't hold up voting forever and ever. The Senate responded with a rule called Rule 22, also called a cloture vote. It looked like the other rule that Aaron Burr had thrown in the trash can, except for one enormous difference. To end debate, Rule 22 required a supermajority, or 2/3 of the Senate.
So, where was she talking about this for the Republicans? Oh, of course, they needed it then. They needed it then. Yeah, that filibuster had to happen. Would have changed a lot if they would have actually had it come through. Oh, man, can you imagine? President Trump was so right about that one. So that's a great reminder. I'm going to show you some more on how these things play out over time and what has been noticed with these SNAP benefits, and also some big news with the medical side. We're going to kind of go over what could be the reason that President Trump brings these big pharma units into his Oval Office. We'll talk about that in a moment. First, here's this. You know, we had a great interview the other day for these Wave watches. The power of frequency. I've learned so much about it. And I wanted to let you know, it's in the description box below, the Wave watch. Improve your health with sound frequencies. And I couldn't believe it at first, but it's actually been working. Here's a soundbite from Linda Bamber Olson, Wave watch inventor.
Because we're not doing that. We went more the direction of pills. And so that's why people have a little harder time realizing that their body can absorb frequencies through their skin and their bones. They don't have to hear it. So that was so important for me to be able to do that, because I'm a deaf person. I'm completely deaf in one ear, and I've had trouble with hearing my whole life. And so I wanted a tool that I could use, you know, that I didn't have to hear.
Oh, wow. Wow. I know a lot. Yeah, so many folks You know, I met her on the cruise, and I tell you what, we had several folks that had the watch on, and we were testing them out. My back started feeling much better. My best friend actually put it on, had a hard time bowling. His left knee was in a lot of pain. And next thing you know, he was bowling. He bowled 4 games. He said, I could go 10 more. He couldn't even believe it. He normally wraps his everything up. He wraps his hand up and more. And he's like, what's going on? This thing is absolutely amazing. They have them in special colors like rose gold, also graphite. They improve your sleep, reduce stress, fight pain. They boost energy. And they are beautiful watches also. So when you use them, you can change to so many different frequencies for your brain health, for your pain, for sleep, and so much more. I encourage you to go check it out, folks. In the description box below. Go check it out. You will be absolutely amazed and reclaim your peace. So if you guys didn't know, President Trump is pardoning Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Christina, Bob, Boris Epstein, and dozens of others who were targeted by Democrats in the government post-2020 election. And wow, I mean, that's just big. The letter is pretty interesting, and there's just if you're looking at your screen, a host of names that are a part of this. I mean, I can't read them all to you, but there's just one long laundry list of those that have been pardoned. I tell you what, that is phenomenal. And while all this has been playing out, I don't know if you guys know, but the top people in the BBC, including Tim Davie, the boss, they're all quitting or they're fired because they were caught doctoring my very good, perfect speech of January 6th, says President Trump. Thank you to the Telegraph for exposing these corrupt journalists. These are very dishonest people who tried to step on the scales of a presidential election. On top of everything else, they are from a foreign country, one that many consider our number one ally. What a terrible day. Terrible thing for democracy.
Well, it's the biggest story in town. It turns out American President Donald Trump was onto something.
Where are you from? BBC. Okay. Here's another beauty.
It's a good line. Impartial, free and fair.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that criticism of the BBC and John Sopel, who was talking to there, apparently was well-founded because the so-called impartial and accurate public service broadcaster is nothing but.
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President...
Because tonight the BBC is facing serious questions over its credibility after the Daily Telegraph exposed a panorama segment that heavily doctored a speech by the American president in 2021, hours before the infamous January the 6th Capitol riot. As you're about to hear, the corporation spliced together 2 quotes 1 hour apart to make it seem like he encouraged an insurrection.
They played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together 2 clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
It's different. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that he then said the second part of the BBC's version.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we fight. We fight like hell.
That is damning stuff. Now, this, of course, is coming from the holier-than-thou BBC that even has its own so-called fact-checking service named BBC Verify that they claim counters disinformation. Oh, the irony.
Go GB News. Let's continue.
Bye-bye, BBC. I mean, this really should be the story that totals Auntie, isn't it? And it's not going to. But what they did with Panorama, where they took an hour-long speech by President Trump and then spliced it,
Really
an hour-apart
serious.
segments, spliced it together to make it sound like he's inciting insurrection with like the mood music and the doom filter over the top. This is not about clipping actuality, topping and tailing to tell a narrative. This is basically being Dr. Frankenstein to turn a man into a monster. It's just outright lying.
Oh, yeah. You know, other things out there. President Trump exposed the fact they destroyed 100,000 trees in the Amazon rainforest to make way for left-wing environmentalists at the United Nations. They are hypocrites. They ripped out the rainforest of Brazil to build a 4-lane highway for environmentalists to travel. It's become a big scandal. A lot of stuff being exposed recently. I mean, look at this. Look at this guy. The Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, at it again. He's actually saying he's begging the United Nations to stop the ICE raids in his city, and Tom Homan obliterated him for it. Homan dropped some truth bombs. He said UN funded the invasion under Biden and allowed millions to flood our border. That's right. Asking the UN to stop U.S. law is like asking an arsonist to put out the fire. Trump promised mass deportations, and the American people said, oh, yes, must secure the border forever. Criminal aliens are gone. Fentanyl deaths plummeting. It's the most secure border ever. Brandon Johnson. More crazy stuff out there. Other things. Let's go to Fulton County, shall we, in Georgia, and find out about the most secure election in history. But don't you dare ask whether or not the ballots in Fulton County still exist. Where are the ballots?
I have a follow-up question. Do we have the 2020 ballots, Ms. Williams?
That is a matter that's currently, Ms. Williams, do not answer. That is a matter that is currently, I believe, in litigation as well. And Ms. Adams, you well know that as well.
It is not in litigation.
If we are not
asking if we have the ballots from 2020. I'm a board member. Am allowed to ask a question about documents from 2020. Do we have
I believe that is
do
the
we have the
case.
ballots?
As you've been told several times, the ballots are in the possession of the clerk of Superior Court.
So she has physical.
They are physically in the clerk of Superior Court warehouse and secured in that location.
Okay.
They've been there for 5 years.
The ballots and the records.
Correct.
From that
They
election.
are, for the past 5 years, they have been in the clerk of Superior Court possession.
Okay. I had been told actually earlier that they were in our warehouse.
That you asked the question, she did give the answer. And I think the public does know that this matter is before, I believe in Fulton County Superior Court, this matter is sitting there right now. And I believe there will be a ruling soon. I mean, I'm presuming since it's been there.
Right. Well, I do want to go on the record that I think with this letter from the DOJ that we should comply. And just want to go on the record that I am not fighting it at all. I think that with all the questions, we need to comply. We need to get all of the questions stopped. If everything's right, they'll just say everything's right, and it'll be great. But I just want to be on the record that I'm not obstructing anything from the SEB or the Department of Justice.
Oh, yeah. DOJ needs to go in there and get those ballots. Wouldn't that be nice? You know, we have a Delta, November 10th, 2018, a 7-year Delta today. Will election fraud be revealed soon? This is from Ripcord. News unlocks. Q. Trump just pardoned the 2020 election deniers. Something big is coming, folks. Will election fraud be revealed? There must be a boomerang coming. Isn't that funny? I mean, things that you thought that folks forgot about. And day after day, we're finding out. So we had this whole Ozempic thing. If you guys know, nobody should take Ozempic, Wegovy, or any of these GLP-1 drugs. They're very dangerous.
Just telling us in terms of health life expectancy, we're going nowhere. What's happening here is as you medicalize a condition, people think it's okay, I can keep eating the donuts. I can still keep drinking the alcohol. I can still keep putting the weight on, because what's going to happen is the healthcare system out there is going to help me and prevent what happens next. We are facing a sort of doomsday scenario in a couple of areas. One is, as we trend into adult life, obesity is a huge problem. But also what's happening is in our unhealthy lives, we are accumulating more and more chronic conditions. And we call this multimorbidity. This is people with 2 or more chronic diseases. And by the age of 65, about 50% of people have 2 or more chronic conditions. In the next decade, that is projected to increase to about 2/3, 67% of the population. If you think we can afford that, 67% of people with age 65 or over have 2 or more chronic conditions. There just isn't enough money to pay for that, because what you're saying is it's okay to get diabetes. By the time you're 50, people will be trending into that. They'll be eating more. They'll be overweight.
That's right. You know, Brian Cates put this out. Nobody should take those Ozempic and all that. Trump and Bobby, for reasons I don't want to take the time to explain at the moment, cannot just outright ban it. So what did they do? This is according to Brian Cates. They interrupted his scheme and removed all the profit motive from it. Our own government, until now, had set up a deal to spend billions and billions of your tax dollars in providing Ozempic to overweight kids. You may think I'm making that up, but I'm not. Trump is slowly, over the last 10 months, positioning Big Pharma, with Bobby's help, for the kill shot. Go back and look at those Big Pharma CEOs standing there forcing sickly smiles on their faces for the camera, as with the stroke of a pen. Trump reduced their expected hundreds of billions of profits from drugs like Ozempic by over 2,500%. One of them actually fainted. Big Pharma has been reusing its massive, obscene profits to literally buy control of the news cycle. They can't control the programming you see on Fox News, ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, CNN, etc. They're not buying ads with all those advertising dollars. They've been buying control to shield themselves from liabilities and accountability while keeping the population drugged, paying for its drugging and docile. So surface skimmers who react emotionally never see the play developing until later. Next year, after having literally wiped out most of Big Pharma's obscene profits, Trump and Bobby play their next move, banning Big Pharma ads from TV. No more buying control of the news cycle via news media outlets being paid literal bribes disguised as ad buys. We're all looking forward to it. All of us. And so, again, the reminder from President Trump on how things could play out for the future for all of us.
You talked about how historic these tariffs have been, bringing in revenue, additional revenue for our country. You've also mentioned before they could possibly replace federal income tax.
Possible.
Do you think that
Someday it's possible. It used to be. So if you go back to 1913 is when they ended tariffs. We were the richest ever from 1850. It was all tariffs. We didn't have income taxes. From 1850 to 1913. In the 1887s, about 1887, they had the Great National Tariff Act. And it was a group of people that got together because our country was so rich, they didn't know what to do with the money. We had so much money, they didn't know what to do. It was a group of very prominent people that were set up to hand out money to everybody because we were the richest we ever were. Proportionately, we were in 1887, around that time, even in 1913. We ended them in 1913. How did that work out? And then we went to the income tax system, and then we had the Depression.
Yep, then we had the Depression. You know, earlier I was talking about President Trump frustrated about this whole thing if they get rid of the tariffs. And he was responding to what was put out on Wall Street Journal and The Fortune, so I forgot to mention that. But anyway, he saw the headline, Supreme Court appears skeptical of Trump's tariffs. That came from Wall Street Journal. And of course, Fortune said the most conservative Supreme Court justices will likely join the liberals against Trump's tariffs, analysts say. Okay? And so he's grilling the Supreme Court basically with this, asking them questions about the tariffs and why in the world would you guys even consider getting rid of them in a case. So again, remember he said, so let's get this straight. The President of the United States is allowed and fully approved by Congress to stop all trade with a foreign country, which is far more onerous than a tariff, and license a foreign country, but it is not allowed to put a simple tariff on a foreign country, even for purposes of national security. That is not what our great founders had in mind. The whole thing is ridiculous. Other countries can tariff us, but we can't tariff them. It is their dream. Businesses are pouring into the USA only because of tariffs. Has the United States Supreme Court not been told this? What's going on? That's his response to those headlines from, the mainstream, lamestream media. What can't go around the media is the price of silver and gold. 2.5 years ago, going on nearly 3 years, we had $18, $19, $20 an ounce back when I started interviewing Dr. Kirk Elliott. Well, it's up there in the 45-ish to 48 time, keeps moving around there in that area. But they're talking about a rebound because it dropped slightly. And Dr. Kirk Elliott came out to tell us why this is all playing out, how it plays out for our daily lives, why it's important to get involved. And man, it's pretty amazing. Play this clip on Saturday's release.
A long-term consolidation this time. We might have, this might have been it. Like just the downturn may have been it, and now it's going to start going up from here because there is so much upward pressure on these markets. There's massive amounts of demand, very little supply. Yeah. London has run out. The lease rates are high. Refineries aren't manufacturing right now. I mean, it's insane.
It's insane. And this amazing interview, guys, you don't want to miss it. amweknow.com/gold. You can reach out to Dr. Kirk Elliott or somebody on his team, clicking on that link. They will help you out. And I'm telling you, greatest thing that's ever happened to us for many years to watch all this play out before us. So I wanted to show a couple more things before we close in prayer. The U.S. Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals just ruled that schools cannot force students to use preferred pronouns. The ruling states that there is no evidence that the use of biological pronouns would disrupt school functions or qualify as harassment under Ohio law. Big win for Ohio. Other things, look at New Hampshire. Look what happened here recently.
Former state representative will be sentenced in February after pleading guilty to charges that include sexual exploitation of children. Stacey Lawton requested explicit photos of children from Lindsay Groves, who worked at a daycare in Tingsboro, Massachusetts. Groves pleaded guilty last month. Prosecutors say the two were dating at the time and exchanged thousands of text messages about those pictures. Lawton was elected to the New Hampshire House 3 times, but resigned twice because of separate legal problems.
Yeah. That guy on your screen, that male named Stacey, first openly trans lawmaker, admits and pleads guilty to sickening child sex charges. Kids as young as 3. Remember, Democrats hailed Lofton as historic. Now he, she, they, it is a federal felon. Check this out when it comes to schools, folks.
There's a reason that my 17-year-old boy needs to get my consent from the school before he goes even to a pumpkin patch or takes a pill that's an Advil. And that's because I am the parent and the school recognizes that. And yet we are willing to disrupt the parental relationship. A school official thinks that it has that kind of authority. That is not constitutional, and it doesn't serve a compelling interest.
They think they have the authority to transition our children without their mom and dad's permission. But you know what? You need permission for Advil. You need permission to go on a field trip.
Nor is it narrow-tailored.
So you're suggesting that the Constitution demands the permission for the pumpkin patch?
I'm suggesting that that practice in and of itself, which is, we can Every time they play a sport, I mean, all the different ways that this plays out all through adolescence is a reflection of what the common law has been and what the American tradition is, and is a constitutional right under the fundamental right. I have the right to direct my child's education and my child's upbringing.
That's right. So if you look at this, notice what children are being taught in school here. Check this out.
Hands up like this. Good. Stay with me. Allahu Akbar. Place them here on your legs. Now we bow down gently. Forehead to the mat like this. Say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Lovely. Sit back up.
Teaching the kids how to do the Muslim prayer. So if Christian children are being forced to visit mosques and learn about Islam, then Muslim children should be forced to visit churches and learn about Christ. You guys see this? It's happening. It's happening. Are they telling their families about it? Or are they saying, hey, I just want to let you know we're going to teach the kids how to do Allah Akbar, and they're going to just force... And these kids are going to go, hey, that's pretty cool. I think I'm going to give it a shot. And then before you know it, then we get into DEI, and we're going to close with some folks that are waking up.
What do you make of what Trump has said about diversity, equity, and inclusion policies? He's basically suggested that they should be scrapped.
They should be scrapped. Yeah, diversity, equity, and inclusion are three wonderful sounding words that are in fact a scheme to do the exact opposite. It's to divide, and it's to create inequality. It's to revive racism, but this time against white people. It's all based on this idea that there's an oppressor and oppressed. It's what I call neo-communism, because the communism before 1989 failed. It was centered around class and economic inequality. But this DEI scheme is based on race and identity politics.
Race and identity politics. DEI. The scam. Let's see how folks are waking up, shall we?
We've really been tricked to believe that if somebody a different color from you and they don't agree with what you think, they automatically racist. I'm looking at my feeds every day. 90% of them are white people telling me they agree with me, they ride with me, they calling me their brother. And this on every single post. Do you know who going against me? Just because I think differently than him. My own people. The ones that's my color. I got people jumping in the comments out the blue, don't want to argue what I'm talking about. Just want to call me a coon. You going against your people, and I hope the police kill you. And whoa. Get real, bro. You know, it took me till I was 30-something years old to actually just look around at my life and be like, you know, a white person never called me nigga. I live in Louisiana. It has never happened. I mean, ever. And if it did, it was the white boy that grew up in the neighborhood that was around us all the time, and he got tired of me picking on him or something. I probably didn't even hear it. I'm just being honest with you. I lived in Louisiana my entire life. I have never been called nigga by a white person. I have never been disrespected by a white person. As a matter of fact, I'll give you one better. Southern have a homecoming. We running from bullets every single year. LSU have a homecoming. They ask me, hey, Paul, you with LSU? Come on over here. I got something for you to drink, man. Come get you a plate, man. Every time I ever went. Every single time I ever went, it's been like that. When I go to the Southern homecoming game, HBCU, I'm running from bullets.
That's a wake-up call for all of us, huh? And he took his camera. He said, you know what? I'm gonna post this today, and I'm gonna let folks know how I feel. And he's doing that in front of his friends and family and others, and he's gonna have to deal with the consequences of that. But folks, many, many more are waking up. This great awakening is playing out in so many ways. You know, interesting, because November 7th, President Trump said, while cattle prices have dropped substantially, the price of boxed beef has gone up. Therefore, you know that something is fishy. We will get to the bottom of it very quickly. If there's criminality, those people responsible will pay a steep price. Amazing, because On November 7th, 2018, on the very day that President Trump posts that, it says the Senate was the target. Corker and flake removed. How do you catch a fish? Fishy fish. LASQ, Leanne SQ, very good catch. Wow. That was actually, no pun intended, but it was actually kind of a pun, huh? Good catch. Mission forward. These people are stupid. Q.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, once again, you are absolutely amazing. An amazing Heavenly Father is taking care of us in so many perfect ways. You already know the end. You already know how the win and the victories occur, and you have given us the ability to have leaders around us that we prayed for so long to remove this evil and not destroy us as they had planned to. For so many decades, they wanted us gone. It didn't work. You've again protected us, watched over us, and you've led us out of this very, very slave-like time in our lives, realizing what they've done to us to destroy us, work us so many hours, tax us to death, steal from our minds, destroy our children, bring evil around us all the time, and yet you finally, through many answers to prayer, said, enough. I've heard your cries. I've heard your prayers. Enough of our children being destroyed. Enough of this evil, these Satanists doing what they're doing across this earth. You've allowed us to see it, and we hope to see the destruction of all of it as soon as possible. Thank you for the reminder that we can come before your throne boldly with our request, and we ask that you would continue to protect us, our families, protect our very minds and how we deal with others. And we ask that you would continue to protect those on the front lines in this battle day in and day out. We bring this before your throne in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you so much for all of your support. It has been absolutely amazing to hear from you, and you guys have changed so many lives day after day. For now, this LT Semper Fi with Them We Know, signing out.
We've got plenty more on the other side. We will talk much more about this. Again, you're looking live at the Senate floor as the Democratic filibuster has been broken. Democratic filibuster has been broken.
We're getting very close to the shutdown. We'll never agree to give any substantial money or any money to really prisoners, illegals that come into our country. And I think the Democrats understand that. And it looks like we're getting close to the shutdown ending. You'll know very soon. Thank you.
Everybody in America knows that our current healthcare system is broken.
Illegal immigrants are not the reason why our healthcare system is broken.
Yeah, it's not deflection at all. In fact, I brought receipts. So here's the CMS, the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, right here with their press release earlier this year saying they were having to increase their oversight on states like California who were abusing Medicaid and classifying it as an EUSA, an emergency system, when it wasn't. You've got the average state spends 5% of its Medicaid roughly on emergency services. California, 35 to 40%.